We're going to put together the T-Rex fence today as promised. We're going to get this up on YouTube. I got Clay here today helping me with the camera work, so you'll have to bear with us just a little bit. So we're going to pan down to the table. You should have 3 pieces for the fence. Now, our fence has gotten a little crooked because we gave this to a customer and he savaged it, but we're going to make do with what we got. So when the fence comes in, these pieces will actually be extremely straight and nice and neat. So don't judge this one by what we're showing today, but we want to get the base. The first thing we want to do is just do a dry run on test fitting the pieces. So the main upright fits into the base like so. Now what we want to do is we want to thread all of these wires into the eyelets on the other side. And you do that by kind of arching it back and putting each one in as you arch it forward. So as you can see, we're still feeding the eyelets. And just take your time. Each one, you got to get everyone in the eyelet, and by angling it, it's like so. Stick this in the base. Your fence should be pretty level once you get it all into place, so it should be going straight across. Now you don't want to put your T-Rex in the base at any time until the fence is completely finished. So when she cuts the fence with her claws, these actually loop right in here, and I've seen a lot of people overseas leaving these straight, but these should actually be looped down and these bent backwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start bending this, and you want to bend it, just start very carefully. You don't want kinks in it, meaning you don't want to have this. And what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to kind of bend them straight back towards me, but down just a little bit. And we're going to make these nice loops. And even if you do kink it, you can straighten it out with your fingers pretty easy. But try not to kink the wires if you can keep from it. But having this low slung hoop at the beginning will make it look so much better, because it looks like there's slack in the lines instead of them just magically staying straight through the eyelets. You want some maybe even just a little bit lower than the others. You'll have to look at the screen caps. Some you might want a little higher. This wire got really kinked up. Our client, I don't know what he did with this one, but you'll have to excuse us on this, but I may do this another time when another one comes in. So I just want to make these loops at first, and if they're a little flat here and there, I'll fix that in just a second. So it's like you're art directing your own piece here. So now that we have the hoops bent downward, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of bend them straight. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at them. I'm going to try to make sure that there are no flat spots. Now yours should not be as kinked up as these, because these have already been bent once and then bent back, and so just be aware that once you get this where you like it, just kind of leave it alone. So the ones that I bent back at an angle, I'm just going to bend them back forward, so it's easier to get them to flow back at an angle than trying to bend them away from you. So now I got these looking pretty good. I got some good loops. I want this one to kind of lay on the ground because it's the furthest one away. Okay, now what you want to do is have these flow over this. So this string attaches right here to the back of the base, and you want to push that all the way in. Once you have the guide wire in place, we want to wrap these wires around the guide wire. They got to go around the guide wire. So this one at the bottom is kind of laying on the ground, so I just kind of like to mush it down towards the base. And you can use your finger just to kind of roll these, but they should all be kind of aiming down at the end of the day, because she's broke these, and they've got massive weight to them. So they're heavy, giant cables, and some of them can bend right at the eyelet too. So I like to bend a couple right at the eyelet. Kind of catch this guide wire. You don't want to pull the guide wire. You don't want that. You want it to be straight, because in the screen caps it's pretty straight, because it's behind. So we're just gonna artfully bend these. You don't want it touching the Rex either. So you don't want any of this fence touching the Rex. I like crossing these up a lot. So if you want to bend one around and have it tucked down in behind, there's no real wrong way to do it. Just I would suggest watching the video a couple of times, see where the cables actually lie. There's some really great screen caps online. There we go. I know our client said not to put this back in the box. He's going to want it the way I've bent it, which I would have suggested to him not to bend it in the first place so the wires don't get all kinked up. So try to get it, the way you really want it. Take your time. Don't rush. This is something that's going to take you just a little bit of time, and you want to really get it right, the first time. There are no extras of the fences. I'll bend that one down just a little bit. This one I'm going to have bending right at the thing, and then kind of turning back on itself and then down. So you can kind of do all kinds of crazy things. So that's pretty much a good look for the fence. You want this straight too. If this is bent at all, this should be parallel to the fence. It should all be straight. We have this little guy, which is the post here on the side. You just want to kind of put it in, and then these, it would all be broken towards the inside of the fence. So again, these would curl, these would be broken and curl down. Now, I used like a screwdriver handle before, put a screwdriver handle in here and bend around the screwdriver handle. You can really get some nice arches with that. But I just like using my finger and taking my time with it. These cables snapped under a great amount of pressure, so they would really be flayed open. But you got to remember, they're extremely heavy, so they have weight to them. They're going to be aimed down. Don't have them like straight out if you can keep from it. Some of them could cross over another one where it's just kind of falling straight down. Watch the screen caps. You should be able to pull this off. So I'm doing this in about 10 minutes with already pre-bent wires, straightening everything. So should be pretty easy to do. I think the fence adds so much to this piece that it's well worth the little bit of work you got to do to it. We can never ship this from the factory the way that it is. So there we go, guys. That's the 10-minute version of doing the fence. I think if you spend a little time on it, your fence will be 100 times better. I'm going to get the Rex out, so the last images will be with the Rex on it. So here you can see I've got some wires that are touching the tail, so I'm just going to come in and kind of adjust that to where they're not touching the tail, because you want her to sit in the right position. So we're just going to bend a few of those around. And in the film, they whip back. So there it is. A little dust on it, or a little styrofoam. So there is a completed fence and breakout Rex. Well, get me in the frame. So I'd like to say thanks for ordering a breakout T-Rex. I think this piece has been well worth the wait. It's a massive piece in scale. I think the fence just adds so much to it. So glad we took the time and the effort to get the fence in there. I know a lot of you are scared of the fence. Don't be afraid of it. Just take your time. Make sure you get these loops nice and smooth. These would be absolutely perfect if they hadn't already been bent by the client before, but I think he's going to like it better this way. I'll work on it a little bit more and try to get it smoother for him, but I think you can see it just adds so much more to the piece by having the fence in there. So thanks for ordering a breakout T-Rex. We really appreciate it, and these are shipping now overseas, and we expect ours to land probably mid-month. So as soon as they get here, we'll start doing QC and shipping these out. Thanks, everybody.